This is the best thing I can think of to be doing today because it's 99.5 degrees outside. So this is the spot where we buried that tractor when we were planting the corn. And the reason this happened is because we had some tile repaired right here, and the repair did not stay repaired. And when Josh was running the Joker over here, tilling up the soil, he got lucky enough that his tractor never ended up in this hole. The ground was nice and dry on top and looked really good, but it just so happened when I was coming through with the planter that my GPS line put that tractor right in this hole. Now, if you look, this hole really isn't any bigger than the tractor, and the reason we had such a hard time getting out, this was like a 4-foot deep hole, and the sides are perfectly straight. Once I got in there, I was pretty much trying to back right into a wall. We were never gonna get it out backwards. So you don't have to look too hard to see the difference between this row and all the other rows. As you can probably surmise, I had a knife plugged up on the planter when I planted through here. You can see that that pattern repeats itself every 16 rows. So what I've done to correct it is pretty simple. In this little tub, I've got a wrench and I've got 2 of these nozzles that are a bigger diameter orifice than the nozzles that I'm running right now. I'm running a 15, these are a 20, and this will make up the difference between having nitrogen on the planter and not having nitrogen on the planter. So that one row that was plugged, I just replaced that orifice with this bigger one, and then I can replace that missed nitrogen on that row. This is a highly effective solution. I'm going to be able to replace that lost nitrogen right next to that row where it needs to be. If this was row number 8 or 9, it would be a lot easier because I could run a high rate on the center coulter. But since this is not centered on the machine, it's offset, it's row number 7, I need to make sure that my direction of travel matches the direction of travel of the planter so that that knife always lines up with that higher rate nozzle that I put on. If I look at a planting map on the iPad, it shows me the direction of travel with this little arrow right here. Shows me what way I was going with the planter. So as I'm going, I can kind of keep an eye on this and look ahead to the next couple passes and see if I've got any that are going the same direction right next to each other. Man, auto steer is amazing when you're side dressing at night and you've had a long day. You're going 10 miles an hour and you don't want to run over any corn or screw anything up. You know, I've never been one to brag about how trendy I am, but check out this new outfit. Look at this, I got my super tall socks on with my shorts and nitrogen all over my boots. Isn't that nice? And I've just finished rinsing off my nitrogen soaked pants, and I'm gonna let them hang over the shower door before I throw them in the washing machine. Well, I might as well fess up to what I did. So I was filling this tank with nitrogen, and when I got done, I shut the valve off on the hose, but I forgot to shut the valve off on the actual nitrogen tank. So when I disconnected the hose, started to walk away with it, nitrogen just came rushing out of the tank through that 2-inch fitting and all over my pants and all over my boots and all over the ground here. I probably only dumped 2 to 3 gallons, maybe 4, but it was a mess. Boy, you guys, I was just out changing one of those nozzles and all of a sudden the big drops started coming out of the sky and lightning struck not too far away. It must have been probably a mile from where I was because it was really quick. Between the flash and the thunder, I got in this tractor as quick as I could. I'm headed home. That's enough of that. Well, it really didn't do anything at all. It rained just for about 30 to 45 seconds, pretty hard. Oh boy, what's that over there? Man, that is a nasty looking little storm cell. I think it's gonna completely miss us. It almost looks like there's a tornado trying to come out the front end of it. I just got this picture on my phone of a giant hailstone from a friend up the road. Well, we got really lucky. We didn't really get any rain at all, so I'm gonna go finish up today. Well, I'm flying through the last cornfield with the last few gallons of nitrogen right now, and I cannot believe how far this corn has come in the last few days. Just look at this. It's barely making it underneath the bar. You wanna see something cool? Look at this big thing behind me. This is a Kinsey 16-row cultivator. So if you pay attention, you'll see that corn right there between the first couple rows of beans? That is volunteer corn. We didn't plant it. We don't want it to be there. It planted itself. It volunteered to come up on its own. That's how I got the name volunteer corn. We can spray a different herbicide on the beans that will actually kill corn. So we can get rid of that volunteer corn in the bean field, no problem. Now the reason it's such a problem when we have volunteer corn in the cornfield is because we can't kill it with the herbicide, because the corn that we grew last year is resistant to the same herbicides that the corn we're growing this year. So when the corn fell over last year and then sprouted on its own and grew up in the middle of our corn this year, we can't kill it because the herbicide doesn't work on that corn either. So here we are with the cultivator. I'm about to fold it out and we're just going to destroy some of this volunteer corn that's growing in between the rows. Now this spot right here is just a great example. You can't really even see where the rows are supposed to be right ahead of me. So we're gonna go ahead and drop the cultivator in the ground right here. And just watch it clean it up. It's not gonna get every last one of them, but it's sure gonna be a lot better. Now you might be thinking, can't you get some yield from that volunteer corn that you didn't even have to pay for the seed to plant? Now on the surface it seems like you would get some good out of it, but it's actually the opposite. So remember when we're planting corn and we're being very careful to make sure that we don't have skips or doubles? Skips are when you don't drop a seed, and doubles are when you drop 2 seeds in one spot. Now the reason the doubles are bad is because you've basically wasted those 2 seeds, because they're going to be fighting so hard against each other that neither one of them will ever produce an ear in most cases, and if they do, it's going to be a very small, useless ear. Same situation with volunteer corn. You have an entire ear of corn laying on the ground, you bury it with the tillage rig and it grows. You've got a couple hundred plants all trying to grow out of one spot. So they're not going to produce any corn that we could harvest. But what they are going to do is they're going to use a bunch of water, they're going to use a bunch of fertilizer, they're going to use a bunch of sunlight, and they're not going to produce anything with it. So they're just going to get in the way of the corn that's doing a good job. Basically, it's a weed that you can't kill with herbicide. Man, I thought this tractor was wide going down the road with the saddle tanks, but this cultivator sticks out about 3 feet beyond the saddle tanks on both sides. It is wide. Well, I'm doing one of my favorite things in the world this morning. I'm raking hay. I can't 100% explain why I love it so much. Maybe it's the smell. Maybe it's watching the sun-bleached windrows get turned over and turn green again right before you bale them. This is the last of the hay that needs raked. It's unbelievable that this has gone so fast. Dad was mowing all of our other hay on the other side of the county while I was side dressing and cultivating corn. Then I mowed this hay over here on Saturday. It's Tuesday right now, and we probably could have baled it yesterday, but we just couldn't get everything done because we had so much hay that was already mowed and raked and ready to bale. So I'll tell you one thing for sure, if you've never smelled that smell before, you are missing out big time. You need to find a way to smell a hayfield after it's been raked.